Welcome to this tutorial brought to you by River City Graphics. Today I'll be showing you how to use non-default web fonts in your websites. Normally, if you want fonts other than Arial, Impact, and other standard fonts on a website, your users would have to have the font installed, or you would have to use text as images. With this technique, you will be able to have access to additional fonts that all users can see. So to get started, I'm just going to go down to Firefox, and we're going to be using Google Fonts today, so I'm just going to type in Google Fonts. Hit enter, and the first thing that comes up is Google Web Fonts, so we're just going to click on that. And here you can see you have 291 font families that you can choose from. Now, there are other sites besides Google Web Fonts, like Font Squirrel I know is one that you can use, and basically you're looking for sites that have what's called an @ font, and you can see it here in their menu. So basically you can use any of these fonts, and some of them aren't @ fonts, some of them are, so you'll have to look, you can like filter them out. With sites like these, it's a little bit more difficult to include them. You actually have to download the files and include the different versions of the font as well as the CSS file, whereas Google, you just can link it up very quickly. So it is a little bit easier to use Google Web Fonts, so that's why I'm showing that today. So I'm just going to switch back over to that, and what we're going to be doing is just picking a font. So I'm just going to go down and we'll look for one that has a pretty drastic difference, I guess, so that you guys can see it on YouTube. And so I'm just going to take and select this one, and so we're just going to go to Quick Use, and it shows over here the page load time and some other information about it. So basically what we're going to do is just scroll down until you see where you have add this code to your website and then integrate fonts into your CSS. And so those are the two things that we're going to be using today. So the reason that Google makes it really easy is that Google stores the CSS file already on the site, so you can just link to it rather than downloading it and linking it up within your actual site. So what you're going to do is just take and copy this first piece right here where it says add this code to your website. So I'm just going to copy that, and we're going to go over to Dreamweaver, and I'm going to create a new HTML file, and I'm just going to file save as, call it index.html, and we're just going to save that on the desktop. And then we're also going to need a new CSS file. So I'm going to create a CSS file, create that, and we can call this, we'll just save it as, and let's call it test.css. That's fine. Alright, so now back in our index file, what we need to do is include that stuff that we copied. So we're going to be doing that inside of the head tag. So you'll see an opening head tag here, and you'll see a closing head tag here. So we want to be within this stuff. So I just hit enter a couple times, and we're just going to paste that in. Alright. So now what we need to do is also link to this test CSS page that I made, and so I'm just going to copy this again, paste it, and instead of where it says http fonts.google APIs and all that business, I'm just going to say test.css. Now depending on where yours is, it might be like styles/test.css, so just make sure that this path is appropriate. So now it links to this CSS and to the one that's on Google. So what I can do is just save that, and so now I'm just going to go down to my body and make some simple text here. So I'm just going to make like an h1 tag, and so inside of that I'm just going to take and say this is some test text. Alright, so now we can take and save that, and we can go up and preview it in Firefox, hopefully. Alright, so now you can see that we have our test text. Alright, so now we haven't actually taken and applied the Google Web Font to this text yet. So this is just the default text, the standard, whatever font it is, I'm not really sure exactly, but this is the default font. So now what we need to do is go back to Google Web Fonts, grab this from the CSS, alright, and we're going to go back over into Dreamweaver, go into our CSS, and we're going to make a rule for that h1 tag. So I'm going to say h1 space, open curly bracket, hit enter a couple times, close curly bracket, go up in between them and paste in that font family. And I can just tab this out so it makes it look a little bit better. So now that we have that, now if we take and test our index page, I'm going to do preview in Firefox, you can see we have quite a difference. This was the before text and this is the after. So by using Google Web Fonts, it allows you to do to use quite a few different fonts that you wouldn't normally have access to and really give your website some extra pizzazz. So I hope you guys learned something in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and comment, and I'll see you next week with a new video tutorial. Thanks for watching.